All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Naresh Mago and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. India to become $20 trillion economy by 2047 if it manages to achieve sustained growth of 7 to 7.5% for next 25 years, says Economic Advisory Council to Prime Minister. World Bank hails India's whole-of-government approach to stimulate production during Corona pandemic. Government to procure 518 lakh tons of rice during forthcoming Kharif marketing season. 64 Jammu and Kashmir Congress leaders, including former Deputy Chief Minister Tara Chand, quit the party in support of Ghulam Nabi Azad. Jharkhand government shifts JMM, Congress and RJD MLAs to Chhattisgarh Hotel to keep the flock together. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to embark on a 3-day visit to United Arab Emirates today for India-UAE strategic dialogue. Festival of Ganesh Chaturthi being celebrated across the country today with great devotion. IMD predicts heavy rainfall in southern and northeastern India during next 5 days. And in cricket, India to take on Hong Kong in their second Asia Cup match today. Afghanistan become the first team to qualify for Super 4 stage after beating Bangladesh. Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister has said that the country can become a $20 trillion economy at a sustained growth rate of 7 to 7.5% for the next 25 years. Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister Chairman Bibek Debroy said that India can become an upper middle income country by 2047 at this growth rate. He said even if India achieves relatively conservative rate of growth of 7 to 7.5%, the country will get to a per capita annual income of about $10,000. India, the world's sixth largest economy with a GDP of $2.7 trillion, is currently classified as a developing nation. Mr. Debroy was speaking at a function to release the Competitiveness Roadmap for India at 100 in New Delhi yesterday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has set an ambitious target of making India a developed nation by 2047, which means India will be in the upper middle income category and the nature of Indian society will be completely transformed, Mr. Debroy said. According to World Bank's definition, a country with a per capita annual income of over $12,000 is considered as a high-income nation. The World Bank has hailed India's whole-of-government approach to stimulate production during the COVID pandemic. It said India adopted a whole-of-government approach to stimulate local production that helped reduce unit prices and the dependency on global supplies during the COVID-19 pandemic, even as no compromises were made on quality in the largest procurement exercise conducted by the government. World Bank report takes a close look at the initiatives taken by the Centre to ensure a sustained supply of essential medical commodities during the critical initial phase of the pandemic, including efforts to develop the local market following a whole-of-government approach. The report lists certain global experiences and summarizes the procurement innovations undertaken by the Centre, including its efforts to develop the domestic market for essential COVID commodities and life-saving equipment.
Home Minister Amit Shah has directed that forensic investigation should be made mandatory in all crimes involving punishment of more than 6 years in Delhi to increase the conviction rate. Mr. Shah visited Delhi Police Headquarters in the national capital yesterday and held an extensive meeting with the officers on various subjects. He said that in the identified offences of serious nature, charge sheets should be filed by the police only after legal vetting. Mr. Shah says surveillance is a major component of policing in preventing and investigating crime. He said the cameras installed by the civil administration and police in Delhi, as well as CCTV cameras installed in public places like airports, railway stations, bus stands, markets, should be integrated with the control room. He said safety of women, children and senior citizens should be a priority. Mr. Shah directed to provide them a safe environment with a more professional and sensitive approach should be accelerated. Government has estimated to procure 518 lakh tons rice during the forthcoming Kharif marketing season 2022-2023. Around 509 lakh ton of rice was procured during the last Kharif marketing season 2021-2022. Secretary, Department of Food and Public Distribution, Sudhanshu Pandey, chaired a meeting of State Food Secretaries and Food Corporation of India yesterday to discuss the procurement arrangements for Kharif crop in New Delhi. During the meeting, issues related to adoption of mechanized procurement operations, borrowing at lower interest rate, reduction in cost of procurement operations, promotion of millets and online settlement of food subsidy claims were discussed. Mr. Pandey stated that focus should be on procurement of millets. We spoke to Subodh Kumar Singh, Chairman and Managing Director of FCI.
राज्य सरकारों के साथ और एफसीआई के अधिकारियों के साथ समीक्षा किया और इस साल का जो सभी राज्यों ने जो अनुमान बताया है वे करीब 518 लाख टन चावल और अगर धान में देखें तो करीब 773 लाख टन धान खरीदेंगे समर्थन मूल्य पर। और जो राज्य सरकार की एजेंसियां हैं डीसीपी राज्यों में कुछ जगह पे एफसीआई भी खरीदेगी और इस तरीके से उसके खरीदने की व्यवस्था, बारदानों की व्यवस्था सबकी समीक्षा की गई और सभी जो है तैयारियां समय से चल रही। जो कोर्स ग्रेन है अगले साल हम लोग इंटरनेशनल ईयर ऑफ मिलेट्स भी मना रहे हैं और सरकार की काफी प्राथमिकता है कि मिलेट्स का उपार्जन बढ़े, प्रोक्योरमेंट बढ़े। अगले साल जो है करीब 13 लाख टन जो है मिलेट्स समर्थन मूल्य पर खरीदा जाएगा जो राज्यों की पीडीएस और दूसरी जो वेलफेयर स्कीम्स हैं उनमें वितरित किया जाएगा।
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will embark on a 3-day visit to the United Arab Emirates today to co-chair the 14th India-UAE Joint Commission meeting and the 3rd India-UAE Strategic Dialogue with Foreign Minister of UAE Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan. During the visit, Dr. Jaishankar will also meet the other dignitaries of the UAE. The External Affairs Ministry said these meetings will provide an opportunity to review the entire spectrum of comprehensive strategic partnership between India and the United Arab Emirates. In Jammu and Kashmir, 64 senior Congress leaders, including former Deputy Chief Minister Tara Chand, have resigned from the party in support of Ghulam Nabi Azad. They submitted a mass resignation letter to Congress Interim President Sonia Gandhi. Tara Chand and several others, including Abdul Majid Wani, Manohar Lal Sharma, Gharu Ram, all ex-ministers, former MLA Balwant Singh and office bearers announced their resignations from the party, including its primary membership, at a press conference in Jammu yesterday. Addressing the media persons, former Deputy Chief Minister Tara Chand said their resignation is a conscious decision as a result of coterie-centric decision-making by the leadership, which has lost its balance and sense of direction.
ये रोज नई नई ज्वाइनिंग होगी, नए नए लोग, सीनियर लोग आएंगे पार्टी में जो आजाद साहब को ज्वाइन करेंगे और बहुत सारे लोग जो हैं सीनियर लोग आज की रूलिंग पार्टी से भी हमारे पास अप्रोच कर रहे हैं, वो भी वहां खुश नहीं है। बोले कि आजाद साहब की जो कोशिश रहेगी कि अपनी पार्टी जो बनेगी वो तो होगी ही होगी, जो हमारी दूसरी क्षेत्रीय पार्टियां हैं, जो सेकुलर माइंडेड पार्टियां हैं जम्मू की, कश्मीर की, उनके साथ मिलके एक अच्छा मजबूत फ्रंट जम्मू कश्मीर में बनाया जाए जो सरकार का बदल बन सके, जो एक नई सरकार दे सके।
The Jharkhand government has shifted the JMM, Congress and RJD MLAs to a Chhattisgarh hotel to keep the flock together. Jharkhand's JMM, Congress and RJD MLAs arrived in Raipur yesterday in a bid to prevent any possibility of poaching by other parties. The resort, situated on the outskirts of Raipur, has been declared a high security zone with heavy deployment of security in the vicinity. The move comes after the Election Commission EC sent its opinion to the Jharkhand Governor Ramesh Bais, seeking the disqualification of Chief Minister Hemant Soren as an MLA. The EC's opinion against CM Soren was rendered on the pretext of violations of electoral norms, wherein he is alleged of extending mining leases to himself. The ruling coalition has 49 MLAs in the 81-member assembly. The JMM, the largest party, has 30 MLAs, the Congress 18 legislators, and the RJD has 1. The main opposition BJP has 26 MLAs in the House.
The President of the United Nations General Assembly and Foreign Minister of Maldives, Abdullah Shahid, lauded the important role played by India at the United Nations while describing the country as a source of pride for not only South Asia but for all peace-loving democracies during his recent visit to India. He even referred to India as a pharmacy of the globe and said that India has spread its human face of compassion not only to its immediate neighbors but even as far as Latin America and the Pacific. In Morning Matters now, let's listen to a discussion on India's role in the United Nations and India's quest for UN reforms. The participants are Anil Wadhwa, former ambassador, and Nilowa Roy Chaudhary, journalist.
The United Nations General Assembly President Abdullah Shahid, who paid a two-day visit to India on August 28th and 29th. The visit of Mr. Shahid focused on the ongoing issues at the General Assembly and India's overall engagement with the United Nations. Ambassador Anil Wadhwa, why is this visit of the outgoing President of the UN General Assembly an important one?
His tenure has been coinciding with India's membership in the UN Security Council and the fact that he comes from Maldives, which is our important neighbor. And so thought it fitting that this would be a good finale to his end of tenure, which is soon coming to an end. He is quite impressed that India has contributed a lot during his presidency, and this is reflected in India being the source of pride, not only for South Asia, but for all peace-loving democracies. Also, the contribution that India made during this period to assist several countries around the world with the vaccines. And again, the cooperation that India has extended to key initiatives which he took during his tenure, basically 5 of them, in all of which India has supported his presidency.
The fact that Ukraine and the situation in Afghanistan emerged as 2 of the most important international crises that afflicted the globe during this tenure. How would you say Mr. Shahid has been able to tackle it?
Under his presidency, the United Nations General Assembly took up a number of issues which are transnational in character. So it's just the issues of terrorism, but he focused on the pandemic situation and on poverty and cybersecurity. Now, these are issues that cut across the continents. And of course, the United Nations General Assembly is the main representative of the multilateral world order. So therefore, it was happy to be seized of these global issues. It's not really been given a chance to come in the limelight in the past. And while the reform talk of the United Nations has been ongoing for some years now, they've not approached to a text-based negotiations, as we all know, and therefore bring about more transparency to the institution and to enhance its credibility. This was one role that United Nations General Assembly was able to do this year, bring to the fore issues that should have been frankly tackled by the United Nations Security Council.
So, in terms of among the things that Mr. Shahid said yesterday in his tweets was that they discussed not only the achievements of the 76th session, but also the importance of multilateralism. India has always been a very strong advocate for multilateralism in global context and has tried to play a fairly significant and constructive role, the best of relations with all countries. In this particular context, what do you think these talks on multilateralism would have been focused on? Just the reform of the United Nations or beyond that?
I think it went beyond that. There are challenges now pertaining to the multilateral UN system, and it needs to be more responsive, and it can only be more responsive if there are reforms which are brought about in the UN in order to strengthen its effectiveness as a multilateral organization and bringing about more transparency to the institution so that it can enhance its credibility.
So what is India's focus likely to be on this forthcoming session at the United Nations?
So I think at the beginning of its membership of the United Nations Security Council were peacekeeping and security and counter-terrorism. In every debate that India takes part, it tries to focus on these 3 issues because it is seen now as a net security provider, especially in the Indian Ocean region. So therefore, this will safeguard the common prosperity and security interests, not only of India, but also of its neighbors. then counter-terrorism is a national priority. We've seen in the past how cross-border terrorism has been affecting India's natural progress and economic development because of diverse resources. So we firmly oppose terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. There is a treaty on the table which India has tabled, but of course there are differences around the whole theme of how to tackle this issue. And third issue which we laid emphasis on the peacekeeping forces, because India has over 5,000 personnel today who are serving in a number of peacekeeping operations around the world. And India will ensure that their safety and security are given the highest priority.
India will keep pushing for what it considers is important. Ambassador Anil Vadhwa, thank you very much for sharing your thoughts.
You are listening to a discussion on India's role in the United Nations and India's quest for UN reforms. The participants were Anil Vadhwa, former ambassador, and Nilova Roy Chaudhary, journalist. You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India to become $20 trillion economy by 2047 if it manages to achieve sustained growth of 7 to 7.5% for next 25 years, says Economic Advisory Council to Prime Minister. World Bank hails India's whole of government approach to stimulate production during corona pandemic. Government to procure 518 lakh tons rice during forthcoming Kharif marketing season. 64 Jammu and Kashmir Congress leaders, including former Deputy Chief Minister Tara Chand, quit the party in support of Ghulam Nabi Azad. Jharkhand government shifts JMM, Congress and RJD MLAs to Chhattisgarh Hotel to keep the flock together. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to embark on a 3-day visit to United Arab Emirates today for India-UAE strategic dialogue. Festival of Ganesh Chaturthi being celebrated across the country today with great devotion. IMD predicts heavy rainfall in southern and northeastern India during next 5 days. And in cricket, India to take on Hong Kong in their second Asia Cup match today. Afghanistan becomes first team to qualify for Super 4 stage after beating Bangladesh. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
अगर आप कॉम्पिटिशन्स की तैयारी कर रहे हैं तो आप सबों के लिए ऑल इंडिया रेडियो के प्रेजेंटेशन है अभ्यास, एक ऐसा प्रोग्राम जहां हमें 9289094044 पर व्हाट्सएप करते हैं आप अपने ऑडियो सवाल या फिर ईमेल करते हैं abhyas.airnews@gmail.com पर और इसका जवाब एक्सपर्ट देते हैं रात 9:30 बजे शनिवार को। ज्योग्राफी यानी कि भूगोल है इस बार का विषय और सवाल भेजने की अंतिम तारीख है 31 अगस्त। आपका अभ्यास हमारा प्रयास।
The festival of Ganesh Chaturthi is being celebrated today across the country with great devotion. The day marks the birth of Lord Ganesh, who is a symbol of wisdom, prosperity and good fortune.
गणनायकाय गणदैवताय गणाध्यक्षाय धीमहि गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि.
Ganeshotsav, the most popular and favorite festival of Maharashtra, begins today. The festival assumes a lot of significance as it is celebrated on a very large scale by people from different sections of the society. The festival of dynamism will continue for 10 days. More in this report from our Mumbai correspondent.
Amid chants of Ganpati Bappa Moria, Mangal Murti Moria, devotees have started welcoming their favorite god, Lord Ganesha, to their homes and public pandals. Maharashtra, which has a rich culture, is specifically known for its Sarvajanik Ganeshotsav, that means those installed in public pandals. With no COVID-19 restrictions in place, the festival will be celebrated in a captivating atmosphere. The festival is omnipresent as it is celebrated with equal devotion by those residing in skyscrapers or hutments. Besides, sides, also by individuals from a working class to a politician, film celebrity or a rich businessman. Devotees are seen preparing scrumptious foods like modak, which is considered as favorite of Lord Ganesha. People in huge numbers descend at famous Sarvajanik Ganesh Mandals like Lal Bagh Sa Raja, Chinspokli Sa Raja, JSB Seva Mandal and Siddhivinayak Mandir in Mumbai, as well as at the Dagdu Shet Halwai Ganpati and many others in Pune to take the blessings of the god of intellect and wisdom. With Umesh Kulkarni, this is Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
President Draupadi Murmu and Vice President Jagdeep Dhankad have greeted the nation on the eve of Ganesh Chaturthi. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has greeted the nation on the occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi. In a tweet, the Prime Minister hoped that the blessings of Lord Ganesh will always remain upon people.
Over the past 75 years since independence, India's largest public service broadcaster, All India Radio, has been the proverbial storyteller for the 1.3 billion citizens across the country. All India Radio celebrating 75 years of freedom with the series Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani Ke Saath. It showcases the journey of India since independence in various walks of life through the storytelling of All India Radio.
आजाद भारत की बात आकाशवाणी के साथ, reliving the journey of India since independence over the last 75 years with All India Radio. From 15th August, the series is being broadcast on All India Radio, 100.1 FM Gold Channel, primetime news bulletins and across all its platforms. Tune in to stay updated with All India Radio.
In today's episode, we bring you the story of the formation of BJP governments at the centre.
Bharatiya Janasangh is formed in the year 1951 with Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee as the president. Its driving force is national approach to all issues rising above caste and religion. In 1977, Bharatiya Janasangh merges into Janata Party along with other parties. In 1980, due to differences with Janata Party, members of the erstwhile Janasangh come out and form Bharatiya Janata Party with Atal Bihari Vajpayee as its founder president. In the 1989 general elections, BJP wins 85 seats and supports Janata Dal government with VP Singh as the Prime Minister. In 1991 general elections, BJP wins 120 seats. In 1996, BJP wins 161 Lok Sabha seats and emerges as the single largest party in parliament. Atal Bihari Vajpayee is sworn in as the Prime Minister, but government resigns after 13 days as it fails to get majority.
हम भी अपने ढंग से देश की सेवा कर रहे हैं और अगर हम देशभक्त न होते और अगर हम निस्वार्थ भाव से राजनीति में अपना स्थान बनाने का प्रयास न करते और हमारे इन प्रयासों के पीछे 40 साल की साधना है। ये कोई आकस्मिक जनादेश नहीं है, कोई चमत्कार नहीं हुआ है। हमने मेहनत की, हम लोगों में गए, हमने संघर्ष किया है। पार्टी 365 दिन चलने वाली पार्टी है। ये कोई चुनाव में कुकुर मुक्के की तरह से खड़ी होने वाली पार्टी नहीं है। आज हमें अकारण कटघरे में खड़ा किया जा रहा है क्योंकि हम थोड़ी ज्यादा सीटें नहीं ले सके। हम मानते हैं हमारी कमजोरी है, हमें बहुमत मिलना चाहिए। राष्ट्रपति ने हमें अवसर दिया, हमने उसका लाभ उठाने की कोशिश की है, हमें सफलता नहीं मिली, वो अलग बात है। लेकिन हम फिर भी सदन में सबसे बड़े विरोधी दल के रूप में बैठेंगे और आपको हमारा सहयोग लेकर सदन चलाना पड़ेगा, इस बात को मत भूलिए।
In 1998, BJP forms a coalition government under the banner of National Democratic Alliance with Atal Bihari Vajpayee as the Prime Minister. But this government falls in 1 year. In 1999, Atal Bihari Vajpayee becomes the Prime Minister for the third time and the BJP alliance completes its full term of 5 years. In the 16th Lok Sabha elections in 2014, BJP-led NDA under the leadership of Narendra Modi sweeps to power. BJP becomes the first party in over 30 years to secure majority in the Lok Sabha on its own with 282 seats.
समाज की आखिरी पंक्ति में खड़े आखिरी व्यक्ति तक सरकारी लाभ पहुंचे, ये सुनिश्चित करना, यही तो है सबका साथ सबका विकास। जब सरकारी मशीनरी का लक्ष्य हर पात्र व्यक्ति तक पहुंचने का, तो फिर पक्षपात, भेदभाव टिक ही नहीं सकता। इसलिए हमारा ये सेवा भाव अभियान सोशल जस्टिस, सामाजिक न्याय का बहुत बड़ा माध्यम है।
In 2019, in the 17th general elections, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP scripts history by winning 303 seats on its own.
हमारे देश में दशकों तक कुछ राजनीतिक दलों ने सिर्फ वोट बैंक की राजनीति की। कुछ लोगों को ही वायदे करो, ज्यादातर लोगों को तरसा कर रखो, भेदभाव, भ्रष्टाचार, ये सब वोट बैंक की राजनीति का साइड इफेक्ट था। लेकिन भाजपा ने इस वोट बैंक की राजनीति को न सिर्फ टक्कर दी है, बल्कि इसके नुकसान देशवासियों को समझाने में भी सफल रही।
Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani ke saath can be accessed on @AIR News Alerts on Twitter, News on AIR official YouTube channel, News on AIR app, Facebook and Instagram handles. So, tune in to All India Radio News for Azad Bharat Ki Baat, Akashvani ke saath. India will take on Hong Kong in their second Asia Cup match today after the inaugural win over arch rivals Pakistan in Group A. The match will be played at the Dubai International Stadium from 7:30 p.m. Indian time. A win more will guarantee men in blue a spot in the Super 4 round. All India Radio will broadcast a running commentary on the match in Hindi and English. Last night, Afghanistan beat Bangladesh by 7 wickets at Sharjah Cricket Stadium, Sharjah.
India Meteorological Department IMD has predicted heavy rainfall in southern and northeastern India during the next 5 days. IMD DG Mrityunjay Mahapatra said that South Peninsular India, Bihar, Sub-Himalayan, West Bengal, Sikkim and Northeast India are likely to experience heavy rain in the coming days.
आज की स्थिति यही है कि मानसून ट्रॉप कोटल्स के आसपास रन हो रहा है। इसके प्रभाव में नॉर्थ ईस्ट इंडिया में नेक्स्ट 5 डेज में बारिश होने के साथ साथ कुछ इलाके में हेवी टू वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल होने का पूर्वानुमान है। ऐसे ही साउथ ईस्ट पेनिनसुला में भी बारिश होने का उम्मीद किया जा रहा है, क्योंकि वहाँ एक साइक्लोनिक सर्कुलेशन है, जिसकी वजह से सदर्न पार्ट्स ऑफ कर्नाटक, केरला, तमिलनाडु में आइसोलेटेड प्लेसेस में हेवी टू वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल हो सकता है नेक्स्ट 5 डेज में।
Now let us have a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Mumbai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Chennai will have a partly cloudy sky with possibility of moderate rain or thunderstorm. Srinagar will have a mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. Jammu, Leh and Muzaffarabad will have a partly cloudy sky. Gilgit will have a generally cloudy sky and Hyderabad will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The controversy over Ganesh Chaturthi celebration in Bengaluru's Eidgah Maidan has been covered prominently on the front pages. No Ganesh Puja at Eidgah, says SC amid high drama, writes Hindustan Times. SC note to Ganesh Puja at Bengaluru Eidgah ground. HC allows it in Hubballi, says the Indian Express. You are intoxicated with power. Hazare slams Kejriwal over excise policy issue, reports a statesman. Power addictive like liquor and not to CM, says the Pioneer. 64 of Azad loyalists, including ex-deputy CM, resigned from JNK Congress, reports the Pioneer. FPI is bullish on India invests $7.6 billion in August, reports the Economic Times. Abhishek Banerjee summoned by ED in coal pilferage scam, reports the Hindu. And finally, the Financial Express reports the Reliance Retail's partnership with messaging platform WhatsApp for a fully integrated shopping interface could be a game changer.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India to become $20 trillion economy by 2047 if it manages to achieve sustained growth of 7 to 7.5% for next 25 years, says Economic Advisory Council to Prime Minister. World Bank hails India's whole-of-government approach to stimulate production during Corona pandemic. Government to procure 518 lakh tons of rice during forthcoming Kharif marketing season. 64 Jammu and Kashmir Congress leaders, including former Deputy Chief Minister Tara Chand, quit the party in support of Ghulam Nabi Azad. Jharkhand government shifts JMM, Congress and RJD MLAs to Chhattisgarh Hotel to keep the flock together. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to embark on a 3-day visit to the United Arab Emirates today for India-UAE strategic dialogue. Festival of Ganesh Chaturthi being celebrated across the country today with great devotion. IMD predicts heavy rainfall in southern and northeastern India during the next 5 days. And in cricket, India to take on Hong Kong in their second Asia Cup match today. Afghanistan become the first team to qualify for Super 4 stage after beating Bangladesh. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website newsonair.gov.in. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.